Alright guys, so today, after a year of doing this, I finally get to do a driving review of the GT500, and soon there will be a full in-depth review on this car, but it is way too windy outside today to do that. But it's not too windy to do a driving review. So GT500, 5.2 liter supercharged V8 that makes 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. Now currently we have in its sportiest steering modes and its sportiest suspension mode. So if we go down, oh, normal, sport. Let's put that into sport. So you do get to control a lot of the aspects of the car through the steering wheel, including the steering feel, the suspension, and you can even control the exhaust with the Shelby logo. If you go into that menu right there, it's kind of like the Mustang button on the Mustang steering wheels. Or if you go down here, you have the exhaust buttons down here and your modes button down there, which we will go ahead and drop this into sport mode. And instead of having the normal shifter like you do in the Mustang GT or the EcoBoost, you do get a rotary dial right there. And this does not use the 10-speed automatic transmission. This uses a 7-speed Tremec dual clutch instead, which has lightning quick shifts. Now this one doesn't have the carbon fiber track pack on it. What it does have is the exposed carbon fiber dash, and it does have the upgraded Bang & Olufsen sound system, but other than that, it does not have any other upgrades. So you could probably pick up one of these new, same spec as this, for around $78,000. It does have the stripes on the outside. They're not the painted ones, so they're not $10,000. It has the stripes on the outside that are vinyl, and it's finished in carbonized gray. Let's go ahead and put it into manual mode too. As you can see, just the shifts are lightning quick. Oh my gosh, the exhaust is crazy. And the steering, the feedback from the steering is so nice, and it's so direct. It's like, if you go from a GT to a GT500, you'll instantly notice a difference. Now granted, this looks just like an older S550 GT does on the outside when it comes to like the headlights and things like that. But the driving experience cannot be mistaken for a typical Mustang GT in any way, shape, or form. It is so just so different. So another thing, if you hold down this paddle over here, it'll drop you into the correct gear for you to get the best acceleration and the best performance out of. So you just hold the downshift paddle if you're in a higher gear. If you want to get into that gear that will provide you the best acceleration, it'll drop you into that gear if you hold down that paddle. And this thing accelerates so crazy. Just insane. And I really noticed the supercharger doing its job around and after 3,000 RPMs is really when you start to experience that rapid building of RPMs. And it's like, you know it's coming. And that exhaust is so nice to listen to. Now, sadly, unlike the GT350, you don't get that high red line above 8,000 RPMs. You get the, it's about 7,500 RPMs is the red line for the GT500, which is about the same for a typical Mustang GT. But it's not really comparable at all because this makes a lot more power at 7,500 RPMs than the Mustang GT does. But the nice thing about the GT350 was, one, you had the option for the manual transmission, which is something, it's one of the cars I've wanted to drive for the longest time, is the GT350, because of that manual transmission and because of the super high red line in terms of, you know, American muscle cars and track cars out there. But this 7-speed dual clutch really is a treat. It is so so responsive, and it makes the driving experience awesome. Like, I wouldn't ever want a 10-speed automatic to touch this car, because this 7-speed is incredible. And so is this powertrain. I mean, this powertrain's just nuts. You get terrible gas mileage. Like, hands down, awful gas mileage. But that is like the last thing you're going to be thinking about when you're down all the way on the throttle. Who could hate something like this? The steering is just, and the suspension paired with the steering, the car feels planted 100% of the time. Very, very, very little body roll. And we're going 75 into this bend right here with some mild acceleration, and it's holding all the way. And that was 90 through that bend right there. Couldn't do that in a Mustang GT if I wanted to. Even with the performance pack on my car, it doesn't match that capability that this car does have. I mean, Shelby's done some incredible things to get the GT500 to where it is. And it's been so long since I've driven one of these, and I never got to really push the car. But it is so capable in so many ways, and it feels like it gives you that confidence that you can just keep going and going and going and going and going without having to stop. Like, I think by the time you realize you've gone too far, it's too late. That would be my fear when driving this. And just listen to that exhaust back there. It's just growly. Oh, this is not the car for a 20-year-old to own. This is definitely not the car. It is so fast. It's a car a 20-year-old wants to own. It's a car that I would love to own. But and if the people out there who think that a GT500 isn't that different from a Mustang GT, it's very different. It is a completely different driving experience. Now, you couldn't even compare them. And I feel bad for all the people out there who compare, like the Hellcat owners, who compare their Hellcats to a 5.0, but have never gone up against a 5.2. It's like, there's a reason they call this engine the Predator. All right, we are gonna launch it because it does have launch control. So 3,000 RPMs, should be fine. Do it right here. So foot on the brake, foot on the gas. All right, that being said, guys, if you did like the video, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more from us, make sure you subscribe. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I know I did. And I will see you all in the next one.